Hey everybody, my name is Schey and welcome to Habitat Now. It is my honor to have you join me for April's NGG. Artist Maria Koshenkova is here from all the way from Denmark via the internet, and we're going to learn about her life and career and her work. Someone I'm really excited about who's definitely a talented artist who's pushing the medium and creating her in her own style and idiom. So without further ado, I'm going to take over your screen and share a little bit of our events coming up, which is coming up quick. So let's run through it. So if you haven't signed up for these Zooms or you can't find the link for them, they're under this button right here. It says Zoom or virtual presentations. I just discovered that both buttons are there and both take you to the same place. So you can get the link every single week on our website. The glass tour is coming close. We're probably going to do it Zoom because I guess there was an update where the boat has changed. They're taking a cruise ship across Europe, visiting studios and institutions and museums and galleries and all kinds of things. And so we'll have an update on that soon, but it's filling up and it's going to be an incredible time. If you've never been on these glass cruises, you should definitely go. The International's less than a month away. I cannot believe it. We have the whole gallery cleared out. Work is coming in. Artists are coming in. Julie and Robin Rogers stopped by yesterday. They have their own installation that's going into the small room on the left when you walk in. So make sure you're coming to our event in May. If you can't make it to the grand opening, come visit us afterwards. The show's going to be up for probably the whole summer, so you have a chance to see it. But all the artists come in for the grand opening. We have the VIP weekend, which is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday we have some events at Flint, and we're going to the great grand opening for the public Saturday night. I mentioned before this talk that our next Masterworks auction is going to be online very soon. It's number 41, and I have it all done except for I'm waiting for a couple pieces to arrive to get pictures, but it's going to be a spectacular offering during our event in May. And you know how our auctions go. They're a limited amount of pieces, but all have been picked and chosen because they're impressive works that we feel are going to be worth a live auction. So here's a glimpse of the last year's International from the front room. I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like, and hopefully we'll see you there. It's a fun time for everybody to come and experience all of the artists and the Habitat staff and other collectors that are like-minded. It's so much fun, and it's coming up quick. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Maria to the talk. Thank you so much for being here. Can you
Thank you
say
so
hi to
much.
everybody? I don't see where you went, but you're probably still on my screen somewhere. Yep,
Oh,
got you there.
oh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
see you. Yep. Who's with you? Who's with you right now?
Oh, that's my little son, Axel,
Hello.
gonna join us.
That's great. That's great. No problem. So we're going to start by showing a little video of your work and you working in the studio, which is something I wanted to share if the stream works. And we can probably just watch it a little bit. I'll turn the volume down on it a bit. So if you want to talk over it a bit, tell us a little bit about this video, will you?
Well, this video actually was made when I was doing the work for Venice Biennale. I was participating in a Venice Biennale with Danish Pavilion. So this video was made in 2022, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, basically it shows I mean, of course my process evolves all the time, but it's more or less shows the way I work. So I'm not a trained glassblower. I can do but I work with glass for 20 years, right? So what I basically do, I sculpt. So I work with a team of excellent glassblowers, and so I choose the colors, I made the sketch, I do everything. Then they kind of start to make the basic form, and then I sculpt. So I stand on the other side of the bench and I sculpt and add colors and I so do all the stuff which is not basically blowing.
Right. It gives you the
Uh,
time to focus on what you want to do,
yeah, but
which
it's
is the
also it's
sculpting.
not possible to be on both sides of the glass piece. You either
Mhm.
blowing and holding the pipe or you're sculpting. So and this scale, like the latest works are really large scale, like they kind of on the limit of possible. So it's not possible to do alone. But
Gotcha.
but smaller parts, like sometimes I prepare myself a smaller parts or do a test or research, then I do myself. But I'm not like a super excellent glass blower. I cannot like blow a Venetian style drinking glass, for
And no,
example.
nor would you want to. That is not your thing.
No, but you know, the time is limited and I have to focus on the things. Like you cannot be good in everything, right?
Right.
So, but like casting works, when I work with casting, I can do it myself. So some stuff I can do, some stuff I cannot do, and then I collaborate with others. Yeah.
Look at that. That's fun. Looks like you really are just having fun with what you want to
Yeah,
create.
yeah, it's super fun. Yeah, I know. Every time I feel like I have a heart attack, I'm gonna have a heart attack, and I need a shot of vodka after work, because it's so intense. I feel like I really use myself for like 500%, and all the others too.
You just came to Detroit recently to do a residency at CCS. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it was a residency through the Danish National Art Foundation. So it was collaboration of CCS and a Danish Art Foundation. And I mean, that was great. I actually created a whole new body of works, and I still work on continuation of that theme that I open up in Detroit. So that was super important residency for me, actually.
That's great. Yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
chance to meet. She came by the gallery, had a chance to talk to her and see some of her work that she had. And I have a couple pieces in the gallery should you want to see them. But this is a little great presentation to give you an idea of the process and style of how Maria works, and just exploring glass and having fun with it and making sure that she has an opportunity to take the colors she wants, mix them together. You'll see some of her work in the presentation, which I'm really excited for. So I'm gonna stop this video because it's and move on to the next slide, which I think is your slide now. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen actually, and I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
have you take over your screen if you don't mind. So
Yes.
feel free. So it was really fun to uh, learn about Maria's work and see where she's traveling all over, and she has a different bodies of work that you're going to see in this talk. And I've seen a couple of them in person, but I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more as we jump through the presentation. Maria, are you able to share your screen?
Yes, just a minute. I just need
Sure.
to choose one, the right one. Um,
Gonna probably be screen. There you go. We can see it. Just gotta click the start presentation button.
yes. Okay.
We're
What do
not
you
we're
see?
not seeing full screen. We're seeing your
All
uh
everything.
everything
And
else. Try
okay.
try that try
What
that
about
one.
now?
Nope, we're on the wrong screen.
Oh shit. Okay, sorry for that. I'm
No
not.
worries. If you
Oh,
click
I have
if
to
you click
try.
stop sharing, actually I'll kick you out real quick. There you
Yeah.
go. And select a different screen that you wanted to have us view.
Okay.
It's always tricky sometimes. Nobody zooms as much as me. But if you have a chance to go to the NGG website, you'll see the new banner of the work of the website, which is focusing on the glass of the future.
Okay, what do you see
And
now? Is it good now?
nope, we still have the maybe you can do it this way. We're
Now,
looking at your
but now you
PowerPoint.
can see. This is the right screen now, no?
Okay, it's not full screen, but we can see the
Ah, okay, okay,
piece.
okay. Wait. So,
But this
okay.
will work if we can't get the full
Okay,
screen
I'm
to
I'm
work.
so sorry for the waiting.
No problem. Are you in a kiln back there?
Yeah, they might actually, it's not the
Well,
real.
let's just let's
Okay,
see.
give me a second. I'm so sorry
Sure.
for that. Okay, it must be the right one. Так. Okay, so
Do you have
yeah,
one screen on your computer?
yeah, I do have on screen.
Okay.
Okay, so I do this and then start presentation. No. Ah, shit. How do I do
You
that?
could go to view in the middle there on top. You
Yeah.
get those bars and try to do it that way. Try and do.
Why doesn't want to?
Well, we can do it. We can do it this way. Just go ahead and go through the slides
Yeah,
this
but
way.
this
This
is
is
kind of
fine.
not cool, yeah?
Yeah, but we're rushing through. We're getting through this. So if we can't get it to get full screen, we do have to try to go to view right there
Oh,
on the
I
top.
should be able to do start presentation.
If you go to the view button, it might get it going. Go to the right 3 or 4. Go all the way to view. Other way.
View,
There
yeah,
you go.
view.
See that
Yeah.
way. Maybe there's something in here.
Okay. View.
And
Slide only,
sure,
maybe.
give it a whirl. I got a
Does
little bit
it start?
bigger. Yeah,
How does
let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. So I will go very quickly through the like my practice from beginning, and then I will show it quickly, and then I will tell more about the latest works.
Sure.
So this is one of my first series when I started to when I moved. So I'm Russian, and I moved to Denmark from St. Petersburg. I got a grant from Nordic Cultural Council to do my master project in Denmark, and I hated it, to be honest. But then I actually had possibility to start to work with a hot glass, and that was one of the first series of work which I made. These are pieces which I made myself. They're not very big. They may be a scale of the heart. And the story, like basically I don't work in one specific technique. I choose the technique after the concept. So it's always a concept, the idea, and after that I choose how do I gonna make the work. And I guess this was important works where I started developing my language, my personal language, and I chose the glass because I wanted to be a sculptor, but it was hard to get to sculpture department in art academy. It was very male kind of dominated department. And with glass, I saw the possibilities that I could do a sculpture and also work with the colors. So it was like a dream material for me. But of course, in Russia, it was not many possibilities for that. So when I came to Denmark, I could see the way for me professionally develop, but it was very hard for me to live in Denmark, and still is. And it's I'm not like very Danish in all the ways. So these are the series called Hearts, Black and White. And originally I was inspired by real pig hearts. So I wasn't when I moved to Denmark, I was buying meat, and then they were selling these pig hearts. So it was boxes full of hearts, and I was really crushed by that. It was very strong. I got very strong emotional response because every day you kind of see freshly taken hearts from the living creature, and it was like many of them. So I was like, wow, can I take this emotional charge and make them in glass so they don't rot? Because I start to draw them, and but then they get smelly, it's just not, after a few hours it's not very nice experience to be around them, but I wanted to keep this emotional charge. So I start to make this series, and yeah, my inspiration was the real hearts. And then I was in a very famous museum in Florence where they had these wax models, like manieristic wax model from 16th century. So that was like a starting point for this series of sculptures. So I always make drawings on the side, and yeah. Oh, the cake. Boom, here. Okay. So the drawing and the sculpting is kind of the skill which I got in Russia, and I use it a lot.
I like the multiple piece setups. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, I made it, it's really old work. I think I made it in 2005. So it's like almost 20-year-old, but yeah. So these are the pieces, later pieces, and these I made. I don't know if you know this residency, Soneva. It's like a super, like basically they invite like the best glass blowers there. They invited Lina Tagliapietra, and then they invited me for some reason. Like, but I'm not like a super glass blower. But it was pretty cool to be there. It was like super luxury resort in Maldives where they build up a studio based on recycled champagne bottles. So it's like, when I came there, Tilda Swinton was there, Tim Burton was there. It was like crazy, And I basically have to be like an artist, a monkey there to make my works. But like, I would never afford in my life to go there. And like, they paid for everything, like everything. Like I had a free bar, free studio. Like, it was actually pretty fun. And then I created this series there. And that's when I went up in scale. It was 2017. So almost 10 years, not 10 years, but like 8 years after I started the whole heart series. So they was quite large. So I'm showing it because a lot of my earlier works, they based on a residency. So I traveled to some place and I created a new body of work in that place specifically. So a lot of my works are very site specific conceptually, and then maybe I come back to my studio in Copenhagen and then I develop them further, but their origin is always a special place or residency where I went, because glass production is so expensive. So that was kind of my way to make my work. So I went to Japan, I went to Maldives, I went to Greenland, I went to so many different places and also in Detroit, as you mentioned. And every time it was a big push for me. So this is a different concept, different series of works which I created in Japan, and with the glass ropes. And it's initially it's a project with casting, and you are on half few of these works which I made in Detroit also after. So these are large casted pieces, and the story about them that I went to Japan, and I wanted to. I was a model for shibari, so I worked with one of the best shibari master in Japan, who I just wrote a mail. He didn't speak any English, so I like used like my friends or Google Translate, and I just wanted like him to be part of that research. So basically, it was a research project about, normally, like when you work with a material as a sculptor, you kind of a master. Master means that material is supposed to do what you want, right? So the more master you are, then better you can tame the material and make material to do what you want. But I want to kind of be on the other side, and I wanted to feel how that feel to be material myself. So being tied, then I feel that I'm not in control and I'm being a material. So that was very interesting experience actually, and as the work I created, they all sold, and they were like exhibited in a very good exhibitions. This is a Charlotten work. Kunsthalle in Copenhagen is one of the best. Like they do every year the exhibition, which like all the most known Danish artists was part of at some point. This is in South Korea. So yeah, so basically that was part of the whole body of work. So I did some works with concrete and with ropes. So basically when I do with ropes, I sculpt from the rope to make a mold, then I burn the rope out, and then I fill it with glass. So it's the mold normally is super giant. It's really pain in the ass to do that. So it's really, it's like, yeah, so yeah, it's so, and it's also very different method, because when I do my hot sculpted pieces, it's very intense, very emotional. I have to react right away. And like, I can create a really large work in one day, for example. But here, it's take months to make this work. So it's all based on my personal experience with that. This is an exhibition in the Danish Glass Museum, Abeltoft, 2019. I go quick. So yeah, this is, for example, the mold, like which are made in a. Actually, wait. Can you play a little bit? Or you want to sit with me? Oh, okay. So this, I was also in a residence invited to the French Museum Musvere, where they wanted to have my piece for exhibition. But then I say, okay, I have to come and make it there, because I didn't have any of these pieces, and I don't have a big kiln. So basically they invite me for a residence to make this piece. And it's over, I think it's over a meter. And the mold was like 300 kilos. We had to have a crane to move it. It was pretty crazy. And then the piece broke, unfortunately, but still you could see the scale. So I got two pieces out of that.
Right.
Yeah, that's a small video to show how I work with rope. That was in Japan.
Really hands-on. Wow.
So if you see, the glass is kind of representation of my own body here. And how do I go from this video now? Shit, what to do now?
Oh, go back to view maybe and turn off the full screen.
Mm. Ah. Hmm. Do you see all my windows now, right?
Right, we see all your windows. Go back to view again and go back down to
Okay, I go to view.
view and then see where it says enter full screen on the bottom there, all the way down, down, down. Yep,
Yeah.
try that one. Oh,
Okay. Yeah, but the
that's a
problem is that it doesn't want to.
go forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, click on the upper left. There's a view button there. See that all the way on the left? Keep going left, left, left. Next to the 130% over there on the other side, there's a view button. Go all the way to the other side. Go all the way to where the file is.
Or if I, yeah.
Yeah, go down and then go over to the view button. Left, left, a little more.
Yeah.
Yep, click that. See if that gets. Click on navigator.
Okay.
There you go. That will kick you into the next slide if you find where you're at.
Ah, okay. Yes, you're right. Great. Thanks.
Yep.
All right.
There you go.
And then I do the
View
view, and then I
full.
enter view,
Full.
enter.
Yep.
Oh, I have on a full script. Slides only. Why cannot I just do it like start presentation thing?
I don't know, but we can see what you're talking
Yeah.
about. There
All
you
right.
go.
Mhm. So this is a project which is not a glass, and I had a residency in Greenland, and I worked. They had nothing. They didn't have any plasters. They didn't have basically what they had. It's like driftwood, then stones, and the fur. And I had to work with what I had. So I did this project, which I show because I returned to that after to the whole theme of floor. So that's another project which I also did in a residency in Norway. It's called Norwegian Wood, and it's also based on me coming to Bergen, and I had no idea what I'm gonna do. And then the first day I saw a house which being demolished by Polish workers, and I just thought, okay, the house is really beautiful. It reminded me of my summer house in Russia. I had like all this nostalgic feeling about that, and they were just cutting it down with a big saw. And so I said, can I just have a little piece? And the guy just gave me a square meter of the house. So I built this works based on this meter of the house, and I still have the original boards. House is gone, but I can actually build my own house now. So I have a piece of something which not exist anymore. So I created this works. So I use the original boards, then I made the wax model, and then I transform it the way I want it. So basically wood cannot do that. So it's like a physical paradox, right? So I made this series of works. This is from 2015. And then I was also invited to do a big installation in Hempel Museum in Denmark based on this work. So I often create a series of works based on one concept, and then I maybe, if I have a possibility, I can do a big scale installation, or I can maybe like some concept like with the hearts, I left the concept and then I maybe return to it. So yeah, that's the work which is in a museum. And this piece is actually left over that I used. So now it's a lot of people like focus on like how green is your practice, and I actually think that artistic practice cannot really be green. Like I feel like I never would say my practice is green because you use so much materials, you use so much gas, so much electricity, but in a way I never have a leftover. I use everything. So if I don't like some works, I don't throw it away, I put it on a shelf, and then maybe I can cut it, I can recycle it, warm it, and use it for other pieces. So, and often even I use molds, leftover of my molds. So in this way, I actually use up everything because I think it's so much resources spent, not only mine, but also people who I work with. Like I feel like glass production is so expensive, so I can't, like it's hard for me to throw anything away. This is another project which I was invited. It's in Russia. I was invited by Austrian curator to do a big exhibition on an atomic ship in Russia, and it's based on a Lenin. It's like the guy who started the whole revolution in Russia.
Icy Lenin.
Yeah, yes. So it's called Frozen Leaders. And it was also made specifically for that exhibition for this ship, because they had, like, in Soviet Union and Russia, you have this Stalin or Lenin, all these big sculptures everywhere. So it's like part of your everyday life. So I based it on that. So now I'm just scrolling quickly through the works I have done. Not all of them, but some. This is a project I did in residency, in another residency in America, in Wheaton. And it's also casting. It's a combination of casting and blown pieces. They're quite large. And it's based on a Statue of Liberty. So I had to resculpt it to make a mold for my glass pieces. And it's called Variation of Liberty. And I was just thinking about the whole concept of freedom and liberty, what it actually mean, and like if is democracy, freedom going together, is like, it's, I was like, so it's every time I do work, I kind of think about a lot of different things which important for me at the moment. And being from a non-democratic country, from Russia, and living in a very democratic country in Denmark, I often think about that, what actually is freedom. Also the same when I did the ropes, it's also when, like, essentially about that, like how much in control you have to be free. Does these things connected? Do you have to let go? So always, I think they like constant themes in my works in one another way. So I had to use a big kilns, as you see. So when I have a chance, I try to really go like upscale my things. So this is another residency when actually I work with glass in the landscape that made in Norway. And I'm still planning it to do a big outside sculpture there. And yeah, as I said in the beginning, that for me, working with glass is like being able to paint and sculpt at the same time. And I think glass is the only material who allow artists to do that, because in glass, I have unlimited variation in color. That's the only material who can have it. So this is the exhibition with Mina Painter, who I know. And this series based on the words. Well, you understand. The still life, the classic Dutch still lifes. And this is a work from 21, and this is where I start to work with light and use the light in my sculptures. I also start to work with metal, and actually, when I came to Detroit, I continue to work with metal, and I do it now also. So I use metal and then I powder coat it myself. And the way I apply the powder coating, it's very similar to how I work with glass. So I don't do functional things, but sometimes function comes like naturally, like when I do mirror or when I do light suspension, then function just there. And yeah, basically it's how I work. I made these kind of sketches when I come to the glass studio.
Such a great variety. Have you ever made the same thing twice?
No, you know what? I tell you a horrible story. I worked in the beginning of my career, I worked with a gallery. It was the largest gallery in, I don't know if you know, called Clara Scrimini. That was the glass gallery in Europe, in Paris. And basically, like, she asked me one time, like, she wanted to, like, somebody wanted to buy sculpture which was like damaged, or I couldn't sell it. And then I said, okay, I can just recreate it. Like, I made it once, I can do it again. And it was a horrible experience. I spent a lot of time, the sculpture didn't look good, they didn't buy it. And she was pissed at me. And after that, I just say, okay, I'm never going to do it again. Never. I never, like, if the sculpture is sold, it's sold. If it's damaged, it's damaged. Like, I cannot do, like, I cannot remake my own works ever. And, but in a way, this way, I feel like I'm not really afraid that somebody can copy me, because I don't know myself how to make my work. Like, I cannot repeat things myself. I develop my very personal techniques which I use, but still, it's like I can't repeat anything. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. Yes. So, and because I'm not like a trained glassblower, so I use all kind of self-made tools. And you know, I remember it at some point, the Czech glassblower Peter Novotny came and saw me work, and he left in 5 minutes. He said, Maria, I can't watch it because you're just raping the glass. I can't look at it. I took it as a compliment, but I don't think he meant it that way.
How do you decide if something is a pedestal or a hanging piece?
Well, I think I actually have to know it in like, I have to decide it before, because it's the construction of the piece depends on that, right? So it decides that it's, for example, piece which have to contain the light or have to be suspended. Then I have to know it before, and then of course, it's like for example, the piece have to have some options how to put the light in, or have to be relatively light. It have to be hanged some way. So I have to think of that before.
Got it. Good.
And yeah, so I use, like, as I mentioned that I work with metal, I will show it a little later, but I also, like, for the suspended pieces, I use a rope and I color with rope myself. And like, so basically I do myself most of the things. It's hard for me to delegate anything, unfortunately. Okay, this movie maybe it's not necessary. So these are the works which I created in Detroit in 2022. And they were important for me because I was working with a whole theme of, like, beauty, violence as trauma, and how can I use a traumatic experience and turn it into something positive in a way, because it was a really hard time for me, because the war between Russia and Ukraine started. And I have an older son who is almost 18 now, and he got a very serious mental diagnosis, paranoid schizophrenia, and I feel like I'm just collapsing. I feel like I can't, like, I couldn't deal with this. It was too much. And then at the same time, I was in Detroit and I had to make new works, and I was at the residency. It was like my time to do stuff. And I just got completely crazy. I just, like, start too many works and I couldn't finish them in time. And I feel like these works was my way to deal with this very hard situation. So I was going to this home, how do you call it, like this sales, when somebody sells a home and you can go there and buy all kind of crap there, you know. So I went to this sales around Detroit, and then I bought this wheelchair, I bought some weird lamps and chairs, and I based my works on that. And the wheels also came because, you know, the whole history of Detroit of being this giant rich place where you have all these cars and big factories, and then the whole economical collapse. And I feel like I'm collapsing just like that, you know. So I feel like it was also very related to Detroit. And also I saw these fresques in DIA, or is it called this museum? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Rivera. I saw his fresque and I thought, oh my God, he's just like Michelangelo, just in 20th century. You know, I was so impressed by his paintings, and this has also influenced my choice of colors and the way I work with them. So it was very much related to me being in Detroit. And then I also start to use this powder coating. And like, I think I get pretty good at it now. It's like I can paint everything. And here, for example, you see that I connect several pieces. Like some of like that piece there, it was a little piece which I made myself. I didn't like it, so I actually recycle it. I put it back in the kiln, connected. So many of my works made like that I connect several pieces together in hot, and then add something and add more, and then I can cut it. Like so, it's very how to say, impulsive. It's like playing a music or dancing. I don't know my next decision in a way. I'm not always know that, but I have some image in my head, but I don't, this plan, sometimes I have it and sometimes it just doesn't go that way. And glass never does that. So in a way, it's pretty perfect. So all these works are based on this used furniture, which I found in Detroit. So, and I connect again the casted pieces. This is a foot of my little son, and I do casting of his foot every like 3 months. So I actually have all the process of his growing through that. And like a child foot in a way, this is a visualization of how fast time goes, when you see how quickly the foot grow. And this is a scale, so they're quite large with works. And this piece, like, for example, I have to use maybe 9 assistants because we have to constantly connect with long tubes. So that was really fun to do it for me, not for assistants. Oh, shit. So these are the quite recent pieces. And I again use the metal and I use the wheels. And I also was thinking that, glass, the whole idea of glass and presenting glass is always like, okay, don't touch it, don't come close to it, don't interact with it. The whole, like, I just wanted to revolve against it. I feel like, what if I do the sculpture, which you can just take with you? You can just take it to your summer house, or you take it wherever you go, take it to shopping. And again, here's the, the mixed kind of, it has a function, but it's unclear what it is. Is it a baby stroller? Is it a shopping cart? What is it? And in my recent pieces, I work a lot with this unclear function. Wait. So this is like this movable sculptures. Sorry for that. Yeah,
and you do all your metal work, right, yourself?
Yeah, I do my metal work myself. Of course, I actually know nothing about metal before. Like even in Detroit, I use ready-mades, right? So in last year, I start to make 2022. Yeah, I start to make my own metal, and I learn it like just the way, because there is a very great place in Denmark called it's a Danish arts, national Danish art artistic studios, and you can work for free there. You like send application with a project, and if they say okay, you can come for like up to 6 months, you can come there. You use studios for free. They have metal, wood, textile, everything, and then you just learn it. They have a master. We can help you, but basically, yeah, I just learned it. I had no idea. And the way I work with metal is a little bit like with glass. Like I don't like, I have the sketch or the idea, but I don't make a model. Like I start with a big tube, for example, right? And then I start to shape it, and I'm not completely sure how's it gonna go, So it's hard for me to give someone a sketch and say I want it to be like that, because I'm thinking through making, and so that's also very recent work from last year. Also, I made all the metal myself and all the coloring and the glass. And this was quite a task to understand how to fix the glass piece so it doesn't fall down on the metal, and spend a lot of time on these small details. But I like this engineering task, kind of. I think it's fun. But I realized that for me to make a glass sculpture now, because I'm working so long time with glass, it's much faster than to make a little metal piece, and it's a funny story about this piece, because then I also got invited to be part of the Venice Biennale with Danish Pavilion, and the curator of Pavilion, he came and he saw this piece and he said, "Oh, Maria, this piece is connected to your hardcore Russian childhood." And I'm like, "Oh, come on, what do you know about, Danish guy?" Like, I didn't even think of that. And then as he spoke, I actually understood that my first child memory was that my mom driving me on a sledge like that to the washing machine, because we were very poor, we didn't have any washing machine. And like all the sheets from the bed, she was driving me, and I was like 2 or 3 together with the sheets, 10 o'clock in the night, somewhere in the snow, to this house, like 1 kilometer away, where she could wash the clothes. And for me, it was a happy memory. I thought, okay, snow, sledge, so cool. And now I realized that it was not a happy memory for her, probably. It was hardcore, that you have to take your child in the night, going somewhere, wash the clothes, come back, you know. And actually, it was connected to my poor Russian childhood in a way, but I didn't realize it before I made this piece. And it's often these sculptures I create, like I think it's I realize what they about after I made the pieces. I think for many artists, for many artists is like that. Okay, now where I'm sorry for these troubles. So now what? Aaron, what do I do now?
Click on the right one, I guess.
Yeah,
Whichever.
but that's not the right one.
Oh, did it close down?
Oh,
Because you had 3 up before. I only see
I
2 now.
know. Okay, wait, I put them down then. This.
Maybe they're all hidden down there.
So
That
where
was
are
your price list.
where are these presentations then?
They'd be under Keynote. Oh, they're probably under your Keynote button down at the bottom. Is there a Keynote button down there somewhere? I'm not familiar with. There's Keynote.
Okay.
There you go.
You genius. Okay. So in here I get unconnected. I connecting here some pieces which were not maybe successful in my opinion, and connect them together. And I think they're all in a way representation of the body, but like internal organs, like lungs or liver or something which very essential, but we don't see that. And how, like, you know, in a way it is brutal, but it's also beautiful. And like, how does it go together? I feel like the beautiful things often can be very violent. And like, I feel like we cannot separate this. And it's in a way coming back to the heart thing, you know. I think the initial impulse is the same, that how do you deal with extreme brutality and violence in our life, and also the beauty of it. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So here's again, it's like a recycled chair I found on the trash, and then I just add the spike and polish it a little bit, but it's a piece which connected to the fount. So basically it's also a little bit about handicapsy, you know, because I deal with the sickness of my son, and also being Russian, you know, at some point I feel, okay, I'm just like cancelled forever. I just shouldn't exist as a Russian. You know, it was really tough. I feel like it's not my fault that this war happened, but somehow I feel responsible for it. And still I feel like it was really hard, you know, to feel guilty in something that you actually didn't do in a way. So the whole handicap is saying that, you know, both of these objects in a way handicapped, and then I connect them together to make something new and positive out of that experience, out of that heavy part of our life. I'm badly prepared, sorry. So this is also very recent work, which was exhibited in Copenhagen Contemporary. It's one of the largest exhibition, halls in Copenhagen. And here I again work with metal. And these pieces are quite high. I think it's 170, no more, maybe almost 2 meters high. So this is my participation in the Venice Biennale, which was last Biennale, not this. I don't know if you've been there. Do you go normally? No.
My brother Corey goes often. I have yet to. Corey, my partner, has gone. I have not.
I actually go this time to also with the exhibition there. So this was it was not like I made a part of that. So I made all the glass works, but then it was not my decision how they were placed. So I had complete freedom about how I do the glass, the curator came to me and said, okay, I could really see your pieces in this pavilion, but then I was not, I didn't took any decision how they were placed.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a really cool exhibition actually. Yeah. So this is very recent works. So this exhibition, it was, they show the Danish pavilion again. It was 6 months ago. So I had some new works. So they reinstall it and transform it a little bit.
Hmm.
So this is works from this year. This actually I had an exhibition in the gallery here, and this work sold to the biggest Danish art foundation. Like I also feel like it was so weird because I like through all my career I tried to prove, okay, what I do is sculpture, is art. It's not just and then now when I actually don't care when people say, okay, Maria makes design or Maria makes art, I don't care anymore. I just want to do my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this piece, it was sold to one of the largest art foundations, the New Carlsberg Foundation, as a sculpture, but initially I made it as a lamp for myself. So I said, okay, I just want to do a lamp for myself. I just want to get a time in the studio, just like with my friend, and just play around and do a lamp. And that was the piece that sold us, so it's interesting how it goes. So this piece is also now in Danish Art Foundation, also one of the largest, it's the largest state art collecting foundation in Scandinavia, I think. And here again, in a way, I return to the heart, but I take very different, like they connected, but they the same and not the same. With I kind of return to what I did maybe 15 years ago with a different view. So it is like abstraction of the body. This is also a very recent exhibition. And here I start to work with the floor again. So the floor I did as well, and that's a recycled metal pieces which I recolored. So this is suspended sculpture, and it's also like I think I couldn't do any bigger in a way. I think that was the maximum I could do. I work now in Holmegård, this like where I got my atelier as well. This is was a large like royal porcelain and glass factory which was closed, and now it's reopened as a museum and a studio. So this is actually the works. I also do like I say, so before I start to work with lights, and I do these light suspensions which have a function, but it's a sculptures and they have a function as a light. So this is installed, this I did in 21 and just before the war in Moscow, it's installed there. And this is, I did last year for a French gallery which I work with, Armel Soyer. And this is very recent. This is a photo from like 3 weeks ago. I was part of Collectible in Brussels. These are Danish guys. And so this is the light installation I did there. And again, I colored all the ropes. I even colored the cables. I made all the hooks. So like I did all the parts of that. And I also install electricity myself. So I learned that. Which I would rather somebody else do, of course. So this is works. And so this is a lamp also. It's actually now in my I don't know if it's now right here. So I decided that I don't want to sell it and keep it for myself. And again, the glass was somehow natural for me to make it, but then the metal, I struggled for almost a month to make it. Like I went to like some weird metal place to get this plate. Like it was a really pain in the ass to do all this. So I don't know, maybe I shouldn't even do that, but I feel like I learned so much and it's fun, and but it's not maybe, yeah. But it's more or less, I mean, I think it's already too much. I mean, I have more work, but I don't think it's necessary to show more. Oh yeah, this is actually also the light installation which I did like 2 months ago in France, in Saint-Tropez, in some crazy house. It's like a house which Jacques Chirac gave as a present to some Abu Dhabi prince, and then this prince sold it, and he sold it to Elton John, who bought it for his lover. So it was like a gay palace. Then they sold it to these people, and they bought this piece of mine. So I was, yeah. Okay, that's it, more or less. I think it was maybe too much even, yeah?
No, it was perfect. I'm going to have you stop sharing. I'm going to take over the screen real quick while I ask you a couple of quick questions.
Actually fell asleep, look.
No. So a big thing we took from this, you're obviously self-trained in all your expertise, which is great, and you're heavily inspired based upon your locations, your residencies, where you're experiencing the world. Do you often, you said I think you caught this earlier, but I'm not quite sure. Do you finish your work in studio after you do these residencies?
It depends. I mean, now actually I don't have time to go to residency. I have a small child, and also I have my like I like to work here. So I think in a way residency, that's more when you're in a younger stage of your career, when you actually can like I think I will go again, but right now I mean, how to answer? It depends how long is the residency. Normally I start the new body of work in the residency, I make some pieces, and then I return to Denmark and I can work further with that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you don't have any places you're going to next. You're staying home right now.
No, maybe I will, but not maybe next year. I mean, I have so much exhibitions now and projects, so to be honest, I don't have time. I feel like I'm like over full. I don't know. I can't. I
Can't
think.
plan.
Yeah, I should say no to more stuff. But it's always the best stuff coming after. You like say yes to something, then you say, okay, I can say yes to that, and then you get like 3 more invitations, which are much more better. But you already say yes to that, so you end up having 4 projects instead of 1. Maybe that you would say yes if it would come the first.
Yeah, you take it at a time. Another question for you is, when you have an exhibition and people are in the space,
Yeah.
do you like people to actually physically touch your work?
I don't mind.
No,
They
okay.
can. I like my opinions that whatever made these human hands, you should be able to touch. I made glass with my hands. Of course, you can touch it, but like you shouldn't come with a hammer and break it. But like I think it's also some trust to the viewer in a way. I had this very profound experience. I was in Palais de Tokyo in Paris. It was an exhibition of artist Thomas Saraceno, and he worked with a spider web. So the whole exhibition was created spider webs unprotected. And you realize that you actually understand it. It's fragile. You can destroy the artwork. So people were really careful. And I feel like if I give this, but on the opposite side, in the Venice Biennale, several of my works was broken because they were on the floor. People come and start to take pictures. And, so, but I want to believe that people have, understanding how much work is it, how that glass is fragile, and they, have this, they would kind of not come and destroy your work. So in a way, I don't mind they touch it. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I figured as much. It's always interesting based on location and what the crowd's like, but
Yeah.
usually a respectful audience is welcome.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And I know you're not planning on it, but when's the next time you think you're going to come to the States?
Well, actually, I was playing in the summer.
Aha.
Maybe, but I didn't plan it that far. But like, I think I will come in summer, so sooner than you're saying.
Right. Well, good. We're good to see if you make it back to Michigan. Well, thank you for joining us today and sharing your story. I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording right now.